So let's talk about scholarships. As ever, I'm logged in as Jabba the Hutt as the mentor, and I'm gonna navigate to my sub-admin profile here with full permissions. I'm gonna go over to the scholarship section, and if I hit View Scholarships, this is gonna show me a list of all the scholarships that have taken place at my affiliate in history. And you can see, what program year they're connected to, if they're, when they were published, if they're still live or archived or in draft mode. Um, Not all affiliates use this feature, but we highly recommend it. It's got a lot of benefits. First and foremost, keeping all the information within the database that you already go to manage your teams and your students and mentors. It's all in here. There's a lot of automated options. If you like the scholarship you put together from last year, you can simply duplicate it and make little tweaks off of what you already have. So it saves you a lot of time. You can also kind of track who was awarded a scholarship, and then you have that information to reference from the past. So all good reasons to create a scholarship. Let's go in and create one here. Now you have the option to make it an alumni scholarship. That's kind of a newer feature for us as we are more focused on the throughput and kind of tracking and supporting our alums as they go through college and into the industry. But today we're going to just create a scholarship for students. You have the option to put a value here. Some affiliates like that if they want the applicants to know potentially how much they might win. It's optional. You don't have to do it. It's going to default to the current program year. Now here, this will appear in the student's profile if they are eligible for the scholarship. So this is a good opportunity to provide any information that you'd want potential applicants to see up front. If there are criteria, you must have a higher, must be junior or senior, things like that. When you publish the scholarship, it's going to appear in all of your active students' profiles for that program year. And, not all of them are necessarily going to be eligible for it. So this is a good opportunity to sort of pre-screen and make sure that those that are eligible know that they are eligible. Now, the published date is actually the date that the scholarship is going to go live. So, in most cases, you're going to be building this scholarship to publish at a future date. So you can put the date that you think that the scholarship is going to go live. You can always come back at a later date and change that. But once that date occurs, that scholarship will go live on that date. So, let's put a date in here. And of course, the close date is the date that that scholarship's going to go away and not be available to the students from within their profile. So, most affiliates give a healthy window for students to apply. And as we all know, most of them apply at the last minute. But, we'll give them, say, 3 months to complete it. Now, the difference between public and private is good to know. Public, again, is going to make that scholarship available to all the active students who are registered for the current program year in your affiliate. If you want to make the recipients of the scholarship list much smaller, you can turn it to private, and then actually you would add here student by student for those who, and then only those are the ones who are going to see that scholarship application in their profile. I'd say if you have more than, I don't know, 30 or 40 students that you want to make this available to, I wouldn't use this. But if it's a very specific scholarship and you want to gear it towards a specific set of students, you can do that. We use this feature for some of the national scholarship stuff, but in most cases, it's going to be public. So now we're in the scholarship creation module here, and it is organized by these tabs that you can see, broken down by sort of different topic area, basic info, education, et cetera, et cetera. You can see here that there are a bunch of default options that are pre-selected. All these pre-selections are based off of a national scholarship we used to do years ago, and they're fields that you are very likely to want to use in your own application. If so, you can leave them selected. If you don't want to use them in your scholarship, you simply unselect them and they will not appear on the student application. You also have the option for every field to determine if it's going to be required or not. That's up to you, if it's something that your affiliate absolutely needs in order to, judge the scholarship application, you can make it required. There is this scholarship terms field as well as an upload option. You may have detailed terms on exactly, what kind of information you're looking for in your scholarship, who is eligible, et cetera, that are more detailed than the scholarship description field that you added earlier. And these terms will appear on the actual scholarship application. So, if it is quite detailed, you can always upload like a PDF file um, that the students will be able to open when they're filling out the scholarship. Now down here is a very important feature. This is the custom form fields. So unlike the default fields that we automatically put up here, you can actually create your own field, and there are different field types. So if there's not a question that already exists in the default that you want to add, you can do so. So you'd put the question text in here. But students don't like to read through things and skip over. So, and then this is going to be the type of field. The field type definitions are up here. So we want a drop down yes or no. So we'll do select. And then the options are going to be comma separated. And then now that field appears here. You have the option to edit whatever fields you had input, or you can delete it if you don't like it, start fresh. Another feature that is very useful is this preview feature. So once you save the scholarship as a draft the first time, this option is available. And now I can see the scholarship from the perspective of the student, see what those questions you added in there are going to look like if you were the student filling it out. And you can see this question we added, yes, no, I don't know, it's required. So they have to fill it out. So again, this is a great way to sort of track and see what it's going to look like, the layout and everything else from the student perspective. One thing you'll notice here is we're explaining all these time zones. That's because on the day that the scholarship closes, our database is set to East Coast time. So it's actually going to close earlier, the farther west in terms of time zones the students are. So we put this explanation here, and of course, every year, if you're in a Western time zone, we have students who are unable to complete the scholarship, by midnight of the night that it's due. So keep that in mind. So let's go to the next tab. That's going to be education. Obviously, all the information here is related to education. And, each tab obviously contains intuitive information. Let's look at the essay questions here. Again, we have these default essay questions that you can choose to use or not, or you can create your own custom essay questions. A lot of affiliates will copy the text in some of these, paste it into the custom, and then make slight tweaks or add information specific to their affiliate that they want to put in front of their students who are applying for scholarships. One important thing to know is the difference between the text and the text area formats. All of these questions are defaulted to text area, which is unlimited characters. The text format is definitely useful. That limits the answers to 250 characters. So not all questions you're going to want to be in that unlimited format. It might just produce too much information, and it creates an undue burden on the students to add more, especially those students who are likely to add more if you don't put a parameter on their application.
Just something to add there, Andrew, on the essay questions. For example, an option to utilize the form field is maybe your affiliate did a very specific project. So I think a lot of affiliates use a custom form field to ask about what they did for that particular project. It's more specific than the default ones were more generalized, right? So this is a great way to see what the students learned. Another thing affiliates have done on the custom form field is almost do a survey question as well. So you can ask students here, what did you enjoy about your season in ACE, right? What was your favorite activity? So you can also add surveys questions here while they're doing the essay questions as well.
That's a great point. And I just, as you were going, I kind of wrote out what it might look like in that custom form area.
Absolutely.
All right, so now we're going to go into the recommendation section. This works a little bit differently than the other sections. Again, we do have these sort of default options here. And of course, you can add your own custom instructions. Um, and then down here, you can see you have the option to either ask for or require up to 4 recommendations. And so that will create 4 separate upload fields for 4 separate documents. Each one of them can either be required or not. So we know some affiliates might require 2 letters of recommendation, but then leave an additional field for 1 additional optional letter of recommendation. Instructions on how all this works are all embedded in this section here as well. But it's, again, useful to look at the preview from the students, and you can see that those submission guidelines that we had selected are up here. You may have custom guidelines that you want to put in that box. And then you can see these 4 fields for the recommendation that we selected. And it's important to know it's PDF, Word, PNG, or JPEG are the types of files that are accepted. The students also have the option to select I'm unable to upload for whatever reason. They have technical difficulties uploading. They can email it directly to you or the affiliate, and you would have the option to upload that file on their behalf.
So Andrew, another thing to consider from an affiliate perspective is that yes, you can require these letter of recommendations, but especially asking a teacher and a team leader to provide these is just additional work on these folks that are already volunteering, right? So unless it's you have a small number of students, or if this is a differentiator that needs to happen, I would recommend maybe not requiring recommendation letters. Team leaders usually get on a call when they make the scholarship selections, and that's when they would advocate for the students, not necessarily having to write a recommendation letter for each student that wants to apply. So just something to consider before you recommend.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree. And you have to consider how many students you expect to apply and, how much you expect to be awarded and sort of make that calculation based on how much do you really want to ask these students to do and what are their chances of actually winning the scholarship based on the amount of work you're asking them to do. So I think that's true for recommendations and some of these other, essay questions, as well as this last section here, which is transcript and upload. Some affiliates do like to see the transcript. Again, that is an additional burden on the student to get that. We know that some students have trouble requesting the transcript from their school. So, it is optional. You do not have to require it, but you have that ability to do it here
I
as
would
well.
say I would agree with Andrew. I think this transcript is might be a friction point, especially for high school students. I do think if this was an alumni scholarship, that this might be something that should be required so that you can see how well they're doing in school as a differentiator. The other thing that I've seen affiliates do in this particular section is utilizing this custom upload file label. And for example, what they use this for is to get headshots of the students so that when the final presentation, maybe they want to show the student that won the scholarship. This is a great way to collect them instead of asking each lead mentor to collect them manually through email. So just a way to automate the process of collecting information.
Okay, now that we've gone through the tabs, one thing that we want to highlight here is these options down here, save draft versus publish. As you're going along and updating the scholarship application, keep hitting save draft. That's going to make sure that all the work you've done is saved. You can exit out of the database, come back and pick up where you left off. If you don't hit save draft, the work that you did will not be saved. So that's very important. Of course, when you are all finished with creating the scholarship, you can go ahead and hit publish. That's not necessarily going to publish it right away. Now it's going to go back to the publish date that you set. And so if it's before that publish date and you hit publish, it's technically not actually published. In other words, it's not visible in the student's profiles until that date occurs. Okay. Another important thing is if you have published your scholarship and you're waiting for the publish date to come up and you come back in and realize, hey, we made a mistake or I want to make a change to one of the questions, you go in and make that change and you hit save draft, you just reverted it out of the publish mode. So you want to make sure if you are in that situation and you want to ensure that it is truly published on the date that you select, you're going to have to hit publish again after you make those changes. So those are the kind of slight differences between those two options there.
Just to clarify, do students have to be listed as active in order to see that scholarship once it's available?
Absolutely, they do. And so we're actually logged into an active student profile, Luke Skywalker. He's a very good student. He attended all his A sessions and he's active, and therefore he has the privilege of applying to a scholarship. So from the student profile, go down here and you see that under the Apply Now section, our scholarship is available. So if he clicks apply, that scholarship application will open up for him. And also there's a scholarship tab on the left here that he can click and the same scholarship is available to that student right there. Now, if he had been marked inactive or remained in pending program status, he would not see this scholarship application in his profile. So that's one more reason why setting the program status correctly is so crucial.